Well, let's get the viewpoint from the other side of the scarlet and gray septic tank with our good friend Mark Rogers here on the 10-Minute War. Of course, Mark has a fantastic channel. If you are a college football fanatic year-round, you cannot do better than the voice of college football. And you get angles and information from every team across the country. But during this time period, we focus on Michigan, the Big Ten, and more. Good to see you again, Mark. How are you?
Good to see you, Steve. Appreciate that. Wow, this month of October and especially November in the Big Ten is going to be something else, something we haven't seen in a long, long time.
You know, 5 Big Ten teams ranked in the top 10 of the AP poll right now. And when you go back, you know, to eras, I mean, this dates back to 1936 when the poll debuted. I mean, there were a lot of years pre-1960s when it was just a top 10 or just a top 20. And, I mean, the Big Ten was easily the most dominant conference in college football in those eras. And yet, this is the first time ever 5 of its teams are ranked in the top 10 in 1 week. What do you make of that, Mark?
Well, I think some of it's coincidental based on backloaded schedules. But I think it's substantial to a certain extent. Do I truly believe that Michigan State's one of the 10 best teams in the country? I don't. I think they're probably still going to go in that 9-3 range, but I think there's an argument to be waged over the best conference in college football, because if we're going to go through the data that we know relates to the field, meaning recruiting rankings and NFL draft selections and just the talent, then we're still going to opt for the SEC being the best conference. And most people focus on the top of conferences and not necessarily 1 through 14 in this comparison, and the SEC still has it. But if you want to go deep, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams deep, then the Big Ten, and then if you want to go with the results on the field and the performance on the field that we've seen here in 2021, then the Big Ten, for the first time in a few years, there can be an argument over the best conference in college football.
So, you know what? I didn't tell you we were going to do this. Let's do this just for fun. All right, so I'm gonna go down the rosters of each league. You tell me neutral field what you think the line is. Okay?
Okay.
All right. And so I'll try to I'm going to do this off the top of my head. I'm going to try to seed them according to probably how Vegas power rates them at the moment. In fact, no, let's seed them according to how the AP ranks them, since we're doing this off the framework of the top 10 of the AP poll. Fair? We'll do it that way. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So Georgia and Iowa, 1-2 in the country. Neutral field. What do you think the line is?
Georgia, 11.
You think it's that high?
Yeah, Georgia just came off being, an 18 or 19-point favorite at home against Arkansas. A substantial favorite. Auburn was about 15 or 16 points, something in that range. I'm going to say that there's still, I think Vegas really clings to its perception of teams, and I think they believe Georgia to be super, super dominant.
Okay, I think it could be 7, maybe 8. I think 11 might be steep, but I think we're in around a touchdown or a little more range, give or take a point. Okay. All right. Alabama and Ohio State.
I think Alabama's probably still going to be an 8-point favorite in that game.
I think it's that high. I don't think it's that high. I think we're probably in the 5 or 6 point range.
It was 10 points for last year's national championship game.
Yeah, but they don't have Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, Mac Jones. They've already lost a game on the road, almost lost another game on the road. What they have done, I mean, in fact, when you look at them all together, frankly, I'm not really sure if they weren't ranked Alabama, they'd be in the top 10. Do you know what the case for Bryce Young as one of your Heisman ballots would be? Do you know what that is currently, other than I play quarterback at Alabama? Do you know what the case for that is?
Well, the case for Bryce Young right now?
Yeah, what's his Heisman Trophy case? Do you know?
Statistically, he's completing like 73% of his passes. Okay. His TD to pick ratio was like 17-2 going into the A&M game.
Okay, all right. Because to me, I'm just like, okay, so he's the quarterback at Alabama then.
There's also
like the quarterback at BYU. He lost at A&M. Almost lost the game at Florida. I mean, how do we ultimately? So if I put up video game numbers against Mercer and a few other teams, but if I don't play great in the games that ultimately matter, they get on national TV, that seems a little system quarterbacky to me.
Well, I think that other portions of the Alabama football team is struggling more so than he is.
Okay. So you've got Georgia at 11 over Iowa. You've got Alabama at about, would you say 8 over Ohio State?
I said 8.
Okay.
Yes. It was 10 last year, and there was a Justin Fields playing for Ohio State last year.
So I think if we go by the AP poll, who's next? Kentucky?
Kentucky.
All right. Michigan and Kentucky, neutral field. Actually, no, it's Penn State and Kentucky because Penn State's ahead of Michigan. So Penn State and Kentucky, What do you think the line is on a neutral field, assuming Clifford and everybody's healthy?
Penn State, Sean Clifford, Kentucky, neutral field. I'm going to say Penn State by 6, according to Vegas.
Yeah, I could see that too. Okay. So then after Kentucky, we're going with, is that Arkansas then? No, Ole Miss. Ole Miss would be next.
Ole Miss.
All right, so Ole Miss and Michigan, neutral field.
I think, I think that's close to a pick-em game. I'm going to say that they're going to slide Ole Miss a couple points.
Yeah, I think you're off by about 5 points. Looking at last week's
you think
Vegas
Ole Miss
power
is
ratings.
Going to be a touchdown favorite?
No, I think Michigan's at least a field goal favorite. Looking at last week's Vegas power ratings.
Okay, I'm going with a pick'em game there.
Okay. So then we'd have Arkansas against Michigan State, right?
Yes.
Okay. Arkansas, Michigan State, neutral field. What do you think?
Arkansas 5.
I think that's probably a little high, but maybe a point or two. Let's see, there's 7. So now we're at Florida. We have Florida and Wisconsin. Is that what we have on a neutral field? Actually, if you look at power ratings, it'd be Florida, Wisconsin, and Nebraska would be next. Okay, so Florida, Wisconsin on a neutral field. Keep in mind, really the only thing Florida does really well on offense is really the only thing Wisconsin does really well as a team. And they do it extremely well, which is stop the run. But what do you think?
I think that Vegas loves the SEC, and I think that they would make Florida a 6-point favorite.
Okay. That's actually considering one team's ranked and the other's 2 and 3. That's really not all that flattering, I guess, is what I would say. Texas A&M and Nebraska, neutral field.
Yeah, after what just happened this past weekend, but Nebraska plays everybody close.
Keep in mind, Nebraska's a top 25 team in Vegas power ratings.
You look at this stuff. I don't.
I do. Yeah.
Texas A&M's going to be a 5-point favorite.
Okay. I mean, I think you're about 2 points high in most of these, but I don't think that they're like outrageous either. I mean, 2 points matters if you and I are betting these, right? Okay.
Yes.
But coming up with a cross-reference power rating, I don't know that it makes that much of a difference unless we're consistently 2 points higher. If we're consistently 2 points higher, then I think we have to account for some form of an SEC bias. Fair?
I believe there's an SEC bias.
Okay.
And I believe that the SEC or the Vegas lines typically take a time for them to be adjusted. Vegas is stubborn about its perception of teams.